The Knicks just finished defeating the Miami Heat in a thrilling overtime win, 116-112. And the biggest highlight of the game is our captain, Jalen Brunson, putting on the captain hat and leading us down the stretch with a W. What's up, guys? It's your boy, Dariel. You guys know the drill. You guys know the vibes. Let's get right into today's video. Jalen Brunson, after tonight's play, is continuing to prove to everybody why he is the best Knick since the Patrick Ewing days, since Patrick Ewing. Jalen Brunson, I feel like every game he keeps gaining the confidence of Knicks fans as to Knicks fans, we just want somebody that's going to be able to make the right play, whether that's creating a play for himself, whether that's creating a play for one of his teammates. Jalen Brunson tonight put it upon his shoulders after trailing 19 points in the first half, which I'll get into in a little bit. But after trailing 19 points in the first half, we were able to come back, tie it up, go up by 1 point. Obviously, we go into overtime and we get the W, and we have contributions from different players, but Jalen Brunson is the primary reason why we were able to leave Miami with a W. Now, as far as today's NBA landscape, one of the biggest things that everybody talks about is the stats, is analytics. And one of the analytics that the NBA came out with is clutch points, clutch situations. Now, me personally, I'm not a huge fan of that because I feel like there's a lot of ambiguity to it, and it really depends on the situation. But what the NBA classified as clutch is the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime, and if the score is within 5 points. So if we're going with those parameters, Jalen Brunson has 120 points, which is second in the NBA. Jalen Brunson is averaging 51% from the field, which is second in the NBA, with a minimum of at least 50 field goal attempts. Now, the Knicks as a whole have a record of 15-7, which is only second to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Knicks have 9 straight clutch wins. Now, again, if we're going with the parameters that the NBA has put out for us, then yeah, Jalen Brunson should be considered one of the best clutch players that we have in the league. But if you're talking to a hooper, if you're talking to somebody that's looking with their eye test and not relying on the numbers, it's easy to tell that Jalen Brunson is somebody who thrives off of these moments. It's easy to tell that Jalen Brunson is somebody that's going to step up to the moment, and he's going to make the right play for himself or for one of his teammates. And if the play is for himself, we have the utmost confidence. Me personally, I have the utmost confidence that if Jalen Brunson is going to take the shot, he's going to create a good shot for himself. Now, Jalen Brunson is definitely the highlight of this W, but how did we get here? How did we get to a point where Jalen Brunson had to put the captain hat and get us back into the game after trailing 19 points? At the end of the first half, the Miami Heat had 40 points in the paint, and I believe it was 40 points to the Knicks 20 points in the paint. And to be honest, it was looking a little embarrassing. We just didn't have the same energy. We didn't have the same motivation. It just looked like we were a little bit lackadaisical. And that third quarter is what changed things around for us. The third quarter, we scored 36 points to Miami's 25. We were 15-24 from the field, where Miami Heat were 9 of 18 from the floor. 3-point field goals, we were 5 of 11, and the Miami Heat were 4 of 11. But the points in the paint, this is the biggest reason why we were able to get back into the game. So in the first half, at the end of the first half, it was Miami 40 to New York Knicks 20. At the end of the third quarter, the Knicks had 20 points in the paint, while the Miami Heat had 8. In that first half, one of the biggest reasons why the Miami Heat were able to just annihilate us in the paint is Khalil Ware, which I'll get into a little bit later because he is 100% a prospect that the Miami Heat, once again, they were able to pull a trick out of the hat. Just being able to draft someone that nobody really had on their radar, but I'll talk about him in a little bit later. But as far as contributions from the team, besides Jalen Brunson putting on that captain hat and being that dog, we had OG Anunoby right behind him, 23 points, 9 of 18 from the floor, 4 of 9 from three-point line, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, grabbing 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks in the 43 minutes that he played. Karl-Anthony Towns had 19 points, 6 of 11 from the floor, 1 of 4 from three-point line, 6 of 7 from the free throw line, grabbing 16 rebounds with 1 block. So Cat had a nice double-double in the 40 minutes that he played. One player that we gotta focus on, man, that I feel like a lot of Knicks fans, they're growing with frustration, is Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges tonight just had a horrible game. 5 points, 2 of 11 from the floor, 1 of 6 from three-point line, grabbing 4 rebounds with 8 assists in the 28 minutes that he played. Man, it's getting a little scary. It's getting a little spooky with Mikal Bridges because the conversation is always going to go back to what we gave up to get him. We gave up Bogdanovich, we gave up 5 first-rounders, and Mikal Bridges is having this type of a game like he did tonight. And then on top of that, I'm not even 100% sure that he was on the floor closing out the game. So if Mikal Bridges is not having an impact on the game and we're looking at what we gave up for him, the frustration is growing and it's mounting, and I feel like it's palpable. I feel like it's getting to a point where Knicks fans, they're just not being patient and they want to see more. Now, some of it you could make the argument that it's Coach Tibbs. Maybe Coach Tibbs needs to do a better job of implementing him into the offense. But yo, if you're a hooper, bro, like you need to make plays. When you get the ball, you need to make a play for yourself or for others. But in Mikal Bridges' case, I feel like Mikal needs to really make it a point to just make himself a part of the team. Right now, there's too many games where I feel like a roller coaster. One game he's good, one game he's bad, one game he's really bad, and then he goes back up to good. So Mikal Bridges, that's definitely one of the lowlights from tonight's game. But I also want to focus on Cat a little bit. I gave you Cat's numbers for the game, but one thing that I noticed about Cat is there's just something about him that I don't see the same fluidity. I don't see the same mobility, the same explosion that he had towards the beginning of the season. Now, he's been dealing with this, like, I think his left knee, his left or right knee, he's been dealing with a little injury that he's playing through. So salute to you, Cat, for showing the toughness and grittiness. But that's something I'm going to be keeping my eye on during the duration of the remaining part of the season. I'm going to be keeping my eye on just to see how he's moving throughout each game. And hopefully this is just something that he's just going to be able to play through. Hopefully his explosion comes back. And also with Cat, since the trade happened, I think you guys know that I wasn't a huge fan of the trade because I had some question marks regarding Cat. Yeah, he's a great player. He has great offensive skills, especially for his size. But one question that I had about Cat is his basketball IQ. And there was one specific play in tonight's game where that kind of really reared its head. So it was at the 5:24 mark in the fourth quarter. Cat has 3 fouls. Bam gets the ball at the 3-point line, but it's by the elbow area. So he catches the ball behind the 3-point line. And Cat's guarding him. So Bam, just right there alone, Bam doesn't have the ability to just pull up for a 3. Cat reaches in and he commits his 4th foul. Now Cat was able to end the game, but why are you even putting yourself in a position where you don't need to do that? And that's a really, really nitpicky play that I just brought up. But these are just some of the signs that I'm seeing from Cat. And then there's the whole getting the ball at the top of the key and just completely barreling his way into the paint, which is that's just something I'm super worried about, man. We're gonna see how teams definitely defend him and the Knicks in the playoffs. And one of the last points I want to make about the Knicks tonight is kind of focusing on Coach Tibbs. So I was watching the game, and I think Clyde brought up the point that this was at the 5-minute and 20-second mark in the third quarter. They said that the Knicks had 5 fast break points. 5 fast break points. Now, Coach Tibbs, besides the fact that he runs his players into the ground, but playing them basically 38 to 40 minutes a night in a regular season game that's on February 1st, like, Coach Tibbs' philosophy is a half-court game, but when you have one of your players like a Mikal Bridges specifically, when you see him struggling throughout the whole duration of the season, and then you look at that 5 fast break points, like, shouldn't you want to play a little bit faster? It might give Mikal Bridges a little bit of leeway. It might give Mikal Bridges a little bit of motivation to go get out there on the fast break, because if he sees the ball goes through the net, then his confidence through the game is going to rise, and then he's going to have more confidence in himself to create a play for himself as the game goes on. And when I saw that 5 fast break points by 5:20 of the third quarter, which is halfway through the third quarter, it's like, man, it just seems like the Knicks, that's their game. It's a half court team, but it's just like you're putting so much pounding on the team in a half court set, that I feel like you can just ease some of the pressure. You can ease some of the way that the game is played. You can help Mikal Bridges specifically just get a little bit more of a feel for the game. Before I wrap up the video, you know I got to continue my Deuce McBride agenda, man. Deuce McBride, the last couple games, has been playing like a menace. Now, in tonight's game, the box score isn't going to stand out to you. He had 12 points, 4 of 10 from the floor, 3 of 7 from three-point line, 1 of 2 from the free throw line with 2 rebounds and 2 assists in the 30 minutes that he played. But a couple of those buckets were timely buckets alongside tipping that OG Anunoby had. I think it was like towards the end of the fourth where it was to tie up the game or go up by 1. But Deuce McBride, man, Deuce McBride is becoming such an essential part of this team. And with the return of Mitchell Robinson, and we'll see what the lineups look like, if Josh Hart goes to the bench, Josh Hart going to the bench alongside with Deuce. I do like that depth. I do like that rotation that we have on the bench between those two players. And Deuce is continuing to impress me, man, with just the confidence that he's playing with. And he's another player that I'm going to keep my eye on for the rest of the season to see if his confidence is going to grow even more heading into the playoffs. So we might see a different Deuce in this playoffs, man. But to end today's video, what I just want to give my 2 cents on about the Miami Heat, man, Khalil Ware, bro. Khalil Ware is a problem. Now, he was drafted in the first round with the 15th pick, 7 foot. For the season, he's averaging 8.6 points, 6.5 rebounds with 1 assist. And he's a rookie, so he's still learning the game. But the potential that he has, man. Tonight's game, he had 12 points, 6 of 7 from the floor, 0 of 1 from three-point line, grabbing 8 rebounds with 6 blocks in the 29 minutes that he played. Listen, I'm going to keep this very short because this is a Knicks Digest channel, obviously. But if Khalil Ware can continue to develop into one of the better bigs in the league, and especially playing under Eric Spoelstra with the whole Heat culture, and they teach you how to play the correct way, like, I'm just saying, keep an eye on Khalil Ware because he is an athletic just freak, and this is his first year. Imagine when he's able just to get a little bit more of a feel for the game. Imagine when he gets a little bit more feel for the defensive rotations, and if he gets a little bit more offensive, it gets more of an offensive repertoire. And he's like learning from Bam as well, who's an underrated player in the league. Khalil Ware is definitely somebody that we got to keep an eye on. But that's it for today's video, guys. I want to say thank you so much for checking it out. Leave it in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought about the Knicks' effort tonight against the Miami Heat, as we leave Miami with that big W in overtime off the heels of our captain, Jalen Brunson, showing us why he is one of the better players in the league. You guys know the drill. Queens all day. Queens get the money. New York or nowhere. New York forever. I'm not going to give you that classic outro, but I'm out. Queens, baby. Peace.